Another video I'd like to make on this April Fool's morning, this cool, pleasant spring morning, is something that I would like to respond to. And it's basically something that is an awesome tip. I'm always looking for life hacks and, things to help me do things better. And one of my favorite things is professional organizers, because who couldn't use a little bit of help in that area? Especially around here with my dad, I would just love to get more organized. And one thing that I heard, I think this woman's username is Clutterbug. And she's amazing in that she has a neat house from what I can see. But yes, she has 3 children, okay? And they're well under 18. But one thing that she said that I really like, that is a good tip, is to stop buying themed items. And I think that is awesome. I wish more people would, however controversial that may be, I wish more people would put that out there, that you could save a lot of money and a lot of space by not buying themed items. And that is a very common thing on my channel, is I've talked about documenting a lack of holiday cheer, and I've talked, almost every other video about how I hate Rugrats shirts and other cartoon clothing, okay? But to not buy themed items or to drastically cut down on anything with a theme would save not only money, but space. So much so that it's just amazing. And when I think about it that way, it's true. I talked about how in my lack of holiday cheer video, almost is it 2 years ago now? Wow. I talked about how, decorating for seasons rather than holidays, or just having general colors, you know what I'm saying? Like, instead of buying a bunch of Christmas clothes that you can only wear for basically 1 week out of the year or 1 month, instead of having that, you could have just warm clothing in reds and greens, that would be a Christmas color without expressly saying Merry Christmas. And the same thing is true for orange clothing in the fall, or I guess golden yellow and orange, marigold and pumpkin orange to be more specific. And for St. Patrick's Day, you could just have green, which that is a hard color to get off your nails. You could just have colors that fit the holiday or the season, as opposed to a bunch of stuff that says, Merry Christmas or Happy St. Patrick's Day or Happy Halloween or whatever it says. And, this thing about not wanting to wear cartoon clothing, which, I haven't ever worn cartoon clothing, it would just make it to where I don't have to justify why I'm not going to wear a character on my clothing, which, like I've stated before, I never have. So it wasn't like, this obsession with the third movie that I have, it wasn't like I was wearing Rugrats clothing up until that point. Well, no, thankfully I never had any Rugrats shirts. My sister did, but, that's because she's 9 years younger than I am. And also never had, see, the thing is, it's not just Rugrats, okay? It's including but not limited to Rugrats that I will not wear on my clothing or my bedding or anything. I just don't want to advertise that show. But okay, let's pretend for a moment. Let's say the Rugrats were exchanged for the Hey Arnold characters. Well, I still wouldn't wear it, as I've stated before. I wouldn't wear The Simpsons. I wouldn't wear Rocket Power. I wouldn't wear any of those cartoons. So, I think that's excellent advice, to not buy a bunch of themed clothing and character stuff, character this, character that, to live like a minimalist or a well-organized person. It would just be so much less tacky, and you'd have so much more space, you know, and she was saying how it's good to buy things that, you know, that are just more versatile, because I mean, children grow up so fast that, I mean, when I think back to my little sister, it was only about 2 or 3 years that she was able to fit in and wear those Rugrats clothing. Thankfully I never had any. But you know, as I've stated before, even if you could erase that third movie from existence and make it to where the last Rugrats anything was all grown up, let's say, because that would be a good cutoff. Okay, it doesn't matter, you know, what I've been talking about for 2 years. It doesn't matter one bit. You know, it's not going to change the outcome of, you know, I'm still not going to get Paramount Plus, and I'm still not going to wear the characters on my clothing. And I'm still not going to go out of my way to even watch it on Nickelodeon for free. So the point is, you know, at the end of the day, I'm still a 38-year-old woman. And arguing about which character pooped in their pants just makes you look like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's not up for debate. You know, they don't really exist. And it's just not something that any respectable person would ever argue about. Least of all a man, because I mean, what do they really know about potty training? You know what I'm saying? They were horrible at it as kids, statistically. They don't usually train their own kids, and so they know nothing about the subject. And as I've stated before, you know, when I picture the audience in their underwear, I picture men in the most disgusting tighty-whities you can imagine. So they're really stupid for thinking that as long as we don't see their underwear, we're going to assume that it's clean. Get real, people. You know, they really think we're that stupid as women. But anyway, this video is getting too long, and I just wanted to talk about that. And really and truly, you know, my interpretation of the movie is actually mild in comparison to something even more adult and more sinister. And what do I mean by that? Well, another way you could interpret it, if you were just hell-bent on believing that she did not poop in her pants, well, you know, just as girls have 3 bodily functions once they go through puberty, males also have a 3rd bodily function, okay? It just happens to come out of the same hole as number 1. So if you really wanted to interpret that line in the movie a different way, there's something more adult that it could mean. And it's just so disturbing that it's even worse than saying that she pooped in her pants. You know what I'm saying? It could mean that she was so hot, you know, sexually, even though she's a toddler, that it caused him to do something other than pee or poop. So, you know, it's just, there's just no good way to read it. You know, I really don't want to go there, but there's just no good way to read it. The show was not clean or wholesome. You're a fool on April Fools if you defend it or like it. And before this video gets to be way too long, since I'm going to have to lower the quality anyway, I'll just go ahead and end the video with this. You know, what I've been saying about how just living like a minimalist, okay? I don't need to justify why I'll never wear cartoon characters on my clothing. You know, I'm a 38-year-old woman, and it doesn't matter, you know, if it can be proven or disproven whether or not they pooped in their pants. It doesn't matter. You know, they don't technically exist. So I guess they can't. None of them. Not even Dill or Tommy. So, yeah, I mean, don't buy a bunch of themed items, and you'll save a lot of money and space.